So I wanted to take the time to talk about constructing a code of ethics. I think it's very important that we as individuals construct our own personal code of ethics in order to align into the future that we want to see, into the future versions that we want to see of ourselves. And I'm feeling more inclined lately to really hone in, come back to myself, really write out the code of ethics for myself, to give myself the blueprint, to give myself the direction of what needs to be exercised on a daily basis, what needs to be worked on a daily basis in order to get me the world that I want to see. You know, world building, again, I love this concept because that is exactly what we partake in every single day through our choices. We are building our own worlds, whether we're building our own heavens or we're building our own hells. That's personal and that's individual. And that's why having a code of ethics is so important, right? What are we building? Why are we building? And how are we building? And, you know, a lot of my work brings me back to talking about tech because I love that. I love technology. I think it's so dope. I think the human capacity and the human will is marvelous. And I love learning about it. And I love seeing what we're capable of. But it's also disheartening sometimes because it's like, wow, we have all these resources. We have all this money, hella bread, capital, genius, and we're building a world of degradation, decay, extraction, alien, right? And I'm just not for that. I'm not for that. But I know that it starts with the individual, and I'm here. I'm here to show up and to do the work and to kind of have a conversation with myself and with others about doing the work and what it looks like, and with hopes that we can learn from each other, have actual feedback, because building a code of ethics requires that you actually are a participant in your own life. And I've had a lot of qualms with social media platforms because they encourage a more voyeuristic, parasocial relationship building that doesn't lead to anything. It leads to avoidance. It leads to lack of communication, fragmentation. And so I always want to preface that when I do use these platforms, because I'm not saying don't use them, but when we do use these platforms, I want to be aware that part of my ethics on operating on these platforms is not a relationship, not a parasitic relationship, not a parasocial relationship, but one in which, okay, I'm attracting people who actually understand what I'm saying, understand what I'm trying to do, and are implementing similar things in their life. I also am attracting people into this world that know how to take constructive criticism and knows how to give constructive criticism with love. Because if we're ever to survive, if we're ever to thrive, if we're ever to preserve and adapt and evolve into a new humanity, we have to be able to function as an organism, as the body politic, as a globe, as a globe, right? As a continuum of a people. It's really funny because I was sitting outside today and I'm like, I have this urge to speak, but sometimes I feel at a loss of what direction I want to go in. But then I remember that if I just start here again, start with myself, then I understand, okay, this is the path forward. This is the message that I want to deliver. This is what I want to tell people. This is what I want to show people and make legible for the public record in order to kind of create this coherence that I'm talking about. And so when I start with myself, I was sitting outside and I'm like, oh my gosh, help me. My demons are control freaks. And when I really thought about this, like how we can have so much pride in building things, right? But like, if we don't understand our own motivations, if we don't understand the things in our life that hold us back, the practices, the behaviors, the patterns that hold us back or keep us from extending a spark to our neighbor, I personally, I need to get that stuff out the way. And this is where ethics building is. We have to understand ourselves so well. We have to understand our subconscious. We have to understand our conscious. We have to get to, hold on, I need water break. I'm thirsty. Oh my God, like, even this, it's like water. We need water. Like, we need water. We need to be able to think about the things that's like we cherish, that we don't want to destroy that. This is why I'm here, right? I don't want to destroy myself anymore. And that's why I look into myself, because if I know that I don't want to destroy myself anymore, then I know that I don't want to destroy the planet. And if I don't want to destroy the planet, I'm going to look at this current paradigm and be like, whoa, we need to pump the brakes on this because, like, we're dying. We're dying. Like, we don't have that much time anymore in order to just, like, lollygag around. And so I'm learning this balance, again, in personal code of ethics, because ethics building is living life. It's, like I said earlier, being a participant in life. And so I live life and I learn from life. Life is my interface. Life is my teacher that shows me my blind spots, that shows me my strengths, that shows me the things that make my heart skip 8 beats, the things that give me fear. Life shows me this. And life is like a dumbbell, for real. And so I don't think a personal code of ethics is stagnant. I don't think it's static. I don't think it's rules per se, because a lot of people like to say ethics are like personal rules. But ethics to me is something that's alive, something that's dynamic, something that mutates, that transforms, that shapeshifts alongside of you in order, like a Rubik's Cube almost, in order to get you to that perfect, like every side is a solid color, like I solved the Rubik's Cube. That's what personal ethics is to me. It's this inner embodied growth, this inner embodied building, this edifice, this structure that we build and we bloom, right? It blooms outside of us and it moves with reality and creates the spaces and creates the reality and the paradigm and the world that we truly, want to build, whatever we put in here. And every time I, go and sit down and do some research and I learn more about the tech space, I learn more about tech philosophy and how it's transforming our culture down to like every cell of the culture, right? Like it's, to me, it's so incredible. And I know that it's not something that I am here to stop. I don't think humans stop evolution. I think we adapt and evolve. And I can't help but continue to draw connections and see, perhaps tech is like a child still, where it's mimicking us and it's learning from us, machine learning. It's learning from how the human is. But what, like parenting, if I model bad behavior, my child will model bad behavior. If I model ignorance, self-disgust, self-loathing, self-disrespect, self-abandonment, my child will learn those things also. And tech is just our child. It's another species that has come here, that has learned how to create a network, create a connection, but now it needs to learn how to interact and what not to do, how to be steered towards behavior that's regenerative and healthy and not self-destructive or destroying us as human beings. And it just really comes down to our own behavior in our real life. And there's no way we can separate that anymore. And I think a lot of conversations that I've tried to kind of peek into in the more professional or academic spaces, it's still this like hardcore boundary line between, okay, we're going to talk about this without ever talking about the messiness of being human. Like there's a strong boundary where it's like, you can't be professional. You can't be a true academician. You can't have any sense of power if you talk about yourself. And I'm learning now that it's not necessarily talking about yourself. It's self-reference. It's referencing myself. It's referencing my personal experience in order to build, in order to form a connection with the world outside of me. That's the important part. And so like, because I've always had a problem with, I don't want to be like I don't want to exploit myself. I don't want to use vulnerability as an excuse for lack of self-control and lack of boundaries. And I see a lot of that on platforms where it's like, okay, how do we talk about our personal lives without letting people through the wrong door, or without completely losing ourselves into being like self-absorbed? And I feel like I'm starting to understand now, again, with this building of the personal code of ethics of like, okay, it's not about self-talk. It's not about talking about yourself. It's about referencing yourself. So how do I convey this message to people, other people, that forms like an empathic connection that is very much human without necessarily divulging things that are sacred to myself, or things that you have to earn a relationship. You have to earn, we have to work together to build trust in order to know about me. So as I continue down this kind of like self-referencing, using myself as a frame of reference on how I want to build technology, how I want to steer technology, a code of ethics is incredibly important, and it has to be one constructed with your mind, your body, and your soul, and your lived experience, or else you're just operating by someone else's rules, and you're just operating by someone else's world. And it's like, if you want to do that, cool, be my guest. But I think the human capacity has shown me that like where we are divine beings in a sense. And so I have high regard for divinity. And I understand that if we are within our divine right and positioning ourselves and carrying ourselves that way, we have a stronger possibility of kind of bringing heaven on earth. I'm writing an essay called The Fall of Eden, version 2.0, because as I continue to ask these personal questions alongside the questions that I'm asking tech and like technology, like literally asking like, what are you? Why, like, what is going on here? Learning algorithms, learning computer science, learning all of these things in the way that in which it communicates back to us. Like how it learns itself is incredible. And I just know that I have to be the one to know myself the most in order to like make this work. And that goes for all of us. I don't know who said it. Someone I was listening to, I think it was on Instagram, where I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, imagine the power, like million man march or whatever there was. Like 1 million people showed up, but it didn't have that. Well, maybe it did have an incredible spark. But what I'm saying is that, like, even if we take that as a blueprint, as a prototype of what it means to come together, imagine the power of like all of us who've like come marching with our own personal code of ethics that reflects life because we're living beings, and not that of death, not that of like self-degradation and self-inflicted pain and just all the bullshit. Right? And I'm not saying that we have to be perfect in order to create a code of ethics. No, it's more so, can you observe yourself in all of your uncomfortable parts? I know for me, I have very, for lack of a better term, very visionary like ambitions. And I wanted to make sure to myself that my visionary ambitions, like, oh yeah, here's proof that I'm a visionary. And I felt this need to like show all the proof right away. Like, show me, you know, like, give me the business plan. And I'm not saying these things are bad, but I'm looking to create longevity, right? I'm looking to adapt and survive. I'm looking to create legacy through my children and eventually their children and continue on. I'm looking to be an ancestor. And I care about the things that I pass on. I'm realizing that I was getting too stuck in this. I need to produce a hard copy form of proof of my capacity and to show people that I'm capable. Like, and I don't think there's something wrong with showing people, but I have to know that I can do it first. And I know that I can do it fueling myself. And it's through my choices every day. And especially in this day and age where we're like, okay, the proof is literally in the pudding. You have to show everything in order to like build coherence, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing again, but how it gets in the way of building the world that we want through our daily lives. That like we're all responsible and we're all capable. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, I wanted to say more so about like my demons being control freaks, because I've come to the conclusion that I like money, like I like power, I like respect. And this is why I'm spending the time learning, relearning, and reconnecting with natural ethics, nature's ethics, so that I don't succumb to these blessings that are great amounts of power. Like having so much money, having so much respect, having so much power, like that's so much energy, right? And I think about Kanye a lot because I think he's one of the only ones who has shown us through this media illusion that this is what it takes. These are the types of wild creatures in the forest trying to tempt you, like knock you off your track, disconnect you from our original source, right? And so I really admire him because I see, okay, building a code of ethics is necessary in order to ever survive on the visionary scale. And I'm on the visionary scale. Like, I'm still learning how I want to come across on these spaces, in the visual spaces, in the media spaces. And sometimes I feel like this inclination that I need to rush and figure it out because you guys need to hear what I gotta say. But like, I just don't work that way. I'm more of like, I don't know. Like, let me just like feel my way through. Let me feel my way through. And if I like it, I'm gonna keep going. If I don't like it, I'm gonna just stop. I've always been like that. So I'm feeling my way through this. I'm feeling my way through sharing ideas. I'm feeling my way through formulating a personal ethics. I'm feeling my way through building this world and sharing it. I'm feeling my way through producing bodies of work, experimentation, pushing my boundaries. I'm feeling my way through. So once I remind myself, another personal code of ethics, that I'm a rhythmic being and I like my rhythm, I trust my rhythm, I don't think my rhythm's gonna steer me wrong. But I also know that when I follow my rhythm, I have more of a capacity to hold the enormity of this vision that I have bubbling right in front of me. So yeah, help me. My demons are control freaks and they like to mess with me. They like to show me that there's parts of my life that I need to get out of my own way, because as soon as I get out of my own way, I stop forcing things and things flow. And I'm able to gather so many insights from these experiences that I have, from this constant inner dialogue that shapes who I am. One more example, just in case, like, just to like seal the deal. Like, I think about our country, right? And this is why it's so imperative, like, that we create our own personal code of ethics, because as a country we have a code of ethics. It's called the Constitution. And in this country, the majority religion is Christianity. That has a code of ethics, right? We could see that in the 10 Commandments written by Moses. Like, these are collective code of ethics that we should revere, but we should reflect, and also should reflect us. And you see how the American Constitution was not necessarily, historically speaking, built out of sincerity. It was not. There was a lot of hypocrisy and so forth. And we can see it bubbling up now. Like, these are not embodied traits of humanity, like how we actually can coexist and in a world that looks different. And I'm not like knocking the American Constitution. I've read it a lot of times because I'm a nerd, but like like what I'm saying is that constitutions are living documents, and we are living beings, and our constitution, we're responsible for creating our own constitution. And it creating a world for its citizens, for the people who come into us to thrive and to be healthy and have vitality and the capacity to care and nurture the planet that we live on and the species that we are sharing this time with. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. That is all I have to say so far about that. I might do an update, I might not. Who knows? You'll probably hear me talk about myself a little bit more, or self-referencing. You'll hear me self-referencing myself as I continue this tech conversation, as I continue this digital shaman conversation, because we have an opportunity to like close one of the biggest myths. Let me rephrase that because people don't really, the word myth has been hijacked. We have the opportunity to close, to conclude, to make a resolution to one of the biggest cosmic stories told. To revisit the fall of Eden and not fall type shit. To move on and evolve as a species to our next mission. Like, we have the opportunity to bite the apple and build heaven from it, and make Eden grow even more, not create hell. We don't need to create hell. We really don't need to create hell. We don't need to. We can create heaven. And don't mistake that for utopia. I don't like that word. But we have the ability to use and construct this technology that we're living with, this paradigm, this way of doing commerce, economics, etc. We have a way of shifting it and steering it in a direction that is regenerative and life-giving. Just as nature takes care of us, and then we take care of nature, we must be stewards of technology and take care of technology and take care of what we're inventing and what we're creating, so that it learns and it understands the importance of pouring back into humanity, so that we can pour back into Mother Nature and so forth. Yeah, I don't think technology is evil, but it starts with us because we are the original blueprint. A lot of this technology, guys, like, it's cool, but like, it's really just like a lamer version of what the human body can do. And I'm not saying that, oh, they're lame. What I'm saying is that they're extensions of our sensorium. They're extensions of the human body, just as we're extensions of nature. And so we have to understand that it is an extension. It is not meant to replace. And it's not meant to do the work for us. We have to do the work so that it can learn how to establish and maintain homeostasis, harmony, mutual aid with us, and not become a parasite. What do you think is going to happen? Look at how humans treat the earth in the animal kingdom, in the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, etc. We are the earth to technology. It lands on our body, it comes through our eyes, it comes through our ears, it comes through our senses. If we are earth and this is a species landing on us, don't you want it to take care of us? Right? So this is why personal ethics is so important, and really ponder on that. Ask yourself these questions. Sit here and challenge yourself to be still and let all your demons shout at you. Shout at you. Can you sit there and can you take it? Can you look at yourself? Yeah, because like personal responsibility is the currency of the future. People who are able to be personally responsible are going to be the ones who are able to live in harmony. So think on that, and I'll catch you next time.